This is the beginning of tape number 4. We are back on the record at 2:27.
Okay, I'm handing you what's been marked as Exhibit 117, and I'll represent to you it's a letter that was sent by the association in Utah to the Congress. Do you have any records of this when you look through the documents of the Congress?
Yes, and it was not in the record of the Congress.
Where was it then? You said yes.
No, I said that I have a chance to look at it, and it is not part of the Congress record.
How do you know?
Because I didn't see that as in the record of the Congress.
So did you memorize all the documents that you reviewed?
No, I would have a recollection if I look at it.
So you can say affirmatively that this was not in the formal records of the Congress.
That's correct.
And those would be those that binder of documents that you represented was being kept at Westminster?
Yeah.
Okay. Counsel, I want to make a formal request that you bring those with when Ben Lee comes, if he can bring that binder.
He's already here.
Okay, can you have him mail it to us then so we can have it by Monday or make a copy of it or whatever?
I can do my best.
Okay, let's try, because that seems to be very important since he did look at them in preparation for today's deposition, and it seems to be highly relevant to the litigation.
I would just he didn't look at them in preparation for the deposition, he looked at them in 2010. I just want that to be clear on the record. I don't believe there's any testimony that he looked at it in preparation for the deposition, just that when he became general counsel, he reviewed it.
Okay, so you can say with 100% certainty from documents that you looked at over 2 years ago that that document's not in there?
That's correct.
Wow, you must have a very good photographic memory?
I never claimed to be that.
Okay, so what makes you so sure?
Because it would have stand out to me.
Why? Why would it have stood out to you?
Because it would have stand out to me because they have made a request to transfer the title.
Back to the local association?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so who is it addressed to, sir?
It was addressed to the Venerable Tickholz Act.
Okay. All right, and he's the one that's dying today?
That's correct.
Okay. This is not the last thing I want you to ask him, so I won't make that request of you. I hope, and I'm sorry, I'm here my condolences for his death. I know that he's beloved by my clients as well. Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 11. Stuart is keeping me on track by keeping me from remarking the same exhibits, so we don't just continue to add to the craziness.
It's like a couple pages back. Couple more.
All right, I'm coming there. That's all in there. All right, so previously marked as part of Exhibit 11 at page 10 of 12 is what it appears to be, because there's an indication at the top. There is a letter, I'll give it to you, that was sent. Would you please look at that? Have you ever seen that letter before?
Would you have
Yes.
the Vietnamese letter?
It's probably in here. I don't know what number it is. You guys probably previously marked it. You say you've seen it though?
Yes, no, this is the letter from your office.
Okay.
Okay, so it appears to be a cease and desist letter. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and who is the party asking that the party cease action?
This is the Congress asking.
Okay. And did you notice the date on that?
May 13, 2010.
Okay. So earlier we had talked about the association and what our position is that it was previously known as a society. And you had indicated that there was not full disclosure to the Congress about the name change. Would that be a fair characterization of your previous testimony?
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to hand you what has not been marked. Oh, yes, it has. Marked as Exhibit 112. Thank you, Stuart. All right. I got my notes over here. All right, can you identify what this document is?
This is a letter in Vietnamese to the Venerable Thích Trí Lãng.
Okay, and do you know the date of this? Can you tell by looking at the last page?
Let's see, it was probably at the end when they make the signature. 2004.
All right,
September 21st, 2004.
So look at page 2 of the document. There are 3 numbered lines that appear to be bold in the middle. Can you see those?
Right.
Can you read them to yourself?
Không chấp nhận Hòa Thượng Thích Trí Lãng lãnh đạo tinh thần Chùa Phổ Quang và thỉnh cầu Hòa Thượng chấm dứt mọi hành hoạt tại chùa. Sa di viên giải phải lập tức rời khỏi chùa để tránh thêm chia rẽ trong nội bộ Phật tử. Hoàn trả lại tất cả tiền quỹ đã lấy đi của chùa.
Okay, so if my understanding is that the first one was a request or was a notice to the Congress that the association is not accepting Thich Chang Lak as the spiritual leader of the pagoda. Is that correct?
That's not correct.
Okay, tell me how you would translate that then.
Okay, I would translate it like this, that they would not accept the Venerable Thích Chang Lak to be the religious leader of the Phổ Quang Pagoda, and request that the Venerable Thích Chang Lak to stop all activities at the pagoda.
Okay, and how would you translate the second line then?
The second line is that the Venerable Thích Viên Giải has to move out from the pagoda right immediately to avoid any further controversy in the rank of the congregation.
Okay, and how about the last one?
The last one is that to return all the money that was in the fund of the pagoda to the pagoda.
Okay, and if you'll turn over to past the signature line, there's a blank page, and then at the bottom there's a Bates number, Tran 1426. There appears to be a list of signatures. Do you see that?
Which one is that?
Like this last page right there, I think you're looking at it, the list of signatures.
Yeah.
Are there titles associated with any of these signatures?
Objection only to the extent that in the prior deposition we could not identify whether the document actually went together.
Fair enough.
And I don't want the record to be unclear.
Okay, fair enough. Can you identify if there's any titles that are associated with those signatures?
In regard to the Congress?
No, in regards to those signatures, are there any titles that appear next to their names?
Okay, the Ủy viên nghi lễ,
Which is?
Ủy viên trai soạn,
Can you translate those for us?
Ủy viên nghi lễ, mean in charge of the ceremony. Ủy viên trai soạn, in charge of the kitchen. Ủy viên quản viên, in charge of maintenance. Ủy viên khánh tiết, in charge of guests. Ủy viên thanh niên Phật tử, in charge of Buddhist youth. Ủy viên văn nghệ, in charge of entertainment. Ủy viên thông tin báo chí, in charge of press release. Ủy viên giáo dục, in charge of education.
Okay.
So do you want to take a break and let her write these down? Because she's...
I'm going to show them to you.
Can you keep this aside while I can just
Yes.
copy it later?
That'll work. Okay. So earlier you had talked about the congregation telling you that they had wanted to transfer the land to the Congress. Is that correct?
Objection.
Yeah, I object to that because number one is that Mr. Tran is the one who testifying that the majority of the congregation want to have the title transferred to the Congress.
Okay, so it's your position then that that was Mr. Tran's testimony. Do you have any personal knowledge that that was the case?
The personal knowledge that I have came from the affidavit that was submitted with the pleading.
Do you recognize any of these names as being in any of those affidavits?
It was too quick. If you give it back to me, then,
Okay,
then
no,
I may
please
have
look.
a chance to recognize
Please look.
them.
See if you can recognize them.
I don't recognize these names that I have talked to.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm going to mark as Exhibit 118 a document that's not been previously marked, and it's base number Tran 1114 through 1122. Okay, it's in Vietnamese too, so you can look at it. Yes, I'm sorry. That's... Have you ever seen this document?
No, I haven't seen this thing in the record for the Congress.
Okay. Can you identify what it is? Like, can you tell from looking at it what it is?
It was done at the Phổ Quang Pagoda in November 20th, 2005.
All right, so I'm going to have you turn to the 4th page. There's a highlighted section. Can you read that to you? You can read it to yourself silently. You don't have to read it out loud because then she has to type it. And then let's see if we can translate it.
Về việc xin giấy phép hoạt động cho chùa với danh xưng mới.
Okay, don't read it out loud if you don't have to. Can you translate it to English? Because if you write it out loud, then she has to write it down, and it's a nightmare because then she doesn't have all the phonetic stuff to even do it in Vietnamese. So if you can translate it, that's fine.
It's hard for me.
It's hard for
I
you?
have to speak out loud and then I can translate.
Okay, fine. If that's what you have to do, sir, then please do so.
You know,
What can we do? Can I just put foreign
if I could
language?
just put parenthetical, he's reading in Vietnamese.
Yes, do that. That'll be much easier. Okay.
Okay. In regard to the application for the permit to operate the pagoda with a new name. Để có ý kiến về quyết định chung của cộng đồng Phật tử của Chùa Phổ Quang theo ý chỉ của Thượng tọa Giác Đẳng để chọn một danh xưng mới và xin giấy phép hoạt động mới cho Chùa Phổ Quang, thay thế các danh xưng trước đây như Hội Tương trợ Phật giáo, Hội Tương trợ Á Mỹ đã quá hạn. In order to gather opinion and to come to a common resolution of the congregation at the Phổ Quang Pagoda, and in accordance with the directive of the Venerable Thích Giác Đẳng, to select a new name and to apply for a permit in order to operate the Phổ Quang Pagoda in replacement of the prior name that was used as the Society, Support Society, and Support Society to the Vietnamese American, which had expired. Sau nhiều ý kiến và đề nghị, toàn thể quý vị có mặt tại phiên họp đã biểu quyết đồng ý giao cho Hội đồng Quản trị xúc tiến việc này, và đạo hữu Nguyên Bình, Võ Thanh Hòa lo tiến thủ hành thủ tục giấy phép xin hoạt động với danh xưng mới cho chùa như sau. After receipt of many opinions and suggestions, all the present members at the meeting have agreed to let the executive board to execute this matter, and Mr. Hòa Vô will initiate the application to obtain the new name for the pagoda as follows. Vietnamese Unified Buddhist Association of Utah dash Phổ Quang Temple. Hội Phật giáo thống nhất tại Utah, chùa Phổ Quang.
Okay, thank you. So when you were reading that, did it indicate that this name change was at least recognized by the Venerable Gakdong as well?
No, I don't know.
Objection.
You
The
did-
document speaks for
You did
itself.
not see that when you read that?
Well, was it sent to the Venerable Thích Trí Lãng?
Well, I'm not asking if it was sent to him, but did the minutes reflect that Venerable Gakdong was involved in this selection?
Objection. Document speaks for itself.
No, it doesn't say that.
So you don't believe it says that?
No, it
Okay.
doesn't.
I will let the translation stand because I think you said that, just so you know, but that's okay. And do you also notice that at the back of Exhibit 118, there is 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of signatures?
Okay.
In looking at those signatures, do any of those names appear in the affidavits that you've been referring to throughout your deposition?
All right. Let me clarify that because I cannot tell that it was the same thing or not. Because according to this, it was this signature page was for a meeting to discuss about the finance of the temple.
Okay.
All right. So, and according to this minutes of the meeting, it is related to the change in name. So,
That's fine. Because that wasn't my question. Thank you for noting that. And I will
Okay.
also notice that the document is about 5 pages long, single space, and obviously covers many topics. But my question to you is in looking at this list of names that's attached to Exhibit 118, do any of those names appear to be people from whom you reviewed affidavits related to the TROs that were issued in this case?
yes, there was some that was in the affidavit. Let me see. This one did not have the last name, only signed the first name. So it may be the same, it may not be the same.
Can you tell me which one that you're referring to?
Yes. I don't know, this is signed like that? Lan Anh, number 20.
Number 20?
Number 20. I can't tell for sure, but I saw the name of the defendant, Chick Phan here, Võ Thành Hòa here. And because of they also assigned that religious name, yeah, like Như Đức Thanh, I'm not so sure this is the same one. Look like somebody signed for somebody here. The handwriting was the same.
Okay. So
11 and 12 look like the same person.
Okay, well, my question to you is, do you recognize any of those names as being people that you saw affidavits from, is what I'm asking.
No.
You can't?
no.
Okay. All right, so when the Congress sought to evict the association, or I guess when Đạo Tràng sought to evict the association from the pagoda, do you know who they envisioned worshiping there?
Objection to the extent it calls for a legal conclusion.
What do you mean by worshipping there?
Like, who do they expect to use the pagoda?
Who's supposed to use the pagoda? The congregant.
So anyone can come in, and could Mr. Ho and Mr. Tran and Mr. Vo, could they continue to worship there?
Oh, yes. They've been asked to come inside. They decide to stay outside.
Okay, so then your envision is that, so do you have a list of people that are planning on coming to worship if Del Tran becomes the owner of the land versus a group of people that are going to worship there if the association becomes the owner of the land?
There's no
Objection calls for a legal conclusion and misstates facts.
We don't have a list that the people would oppose if Mr. Tran or Mr. Vo to come to worship there.
Okay, that
Because
was,
this is the house of Buddha. It's open to anyone who come there to worship, in full faith.
okay, so that wasn't my question though. Do you have a list of people that would come to worship if Del Tran continues to maintain ownership of the land?
Objection misstates facts.
No, we don't have such a list.
So when a monk comes to visit, like was sent to Utah to visit, when he came back to the Congress, was he asked to do a report of what he saw or what happened?
Objection vague.
No, the Congress would not ask me to do a report as far as writing any kind of communication to the issue at the Phổ Quang temple. It's just there to observe.
How about if a monk came to provide spiritual leadership and maybe preside over some sort of ceremony? Would they then go back and report to the Congress that they had been and presided and this is what we, did they do anything like that?
Objection
No,
vague.
they don't.
So no written reports about observations made?
No.
Okay. Did you know that Von Tran represented himself to the society as being Congress's representative in the state of Utah?
Objection.
Would you please say it again?
Did you know that Von Tran represented himself to the society as being the legal representative of Congress in Utah
Objection vague.
At what time?
in 2000?
To the society? To the member of the society?
Yes.
I do not have anything in writing that he has made such a representation.
Okay, so you don't know anything about that?
No.
Okay. How about to the same question, but except to the association?
Objection to the extent it calls for a legal conclusion.
I don't have any written communication to that effect, that he has made any representation to the association that he was the legal representative of the Congress in Utah.
So was Mr. Tran required to write any reports to the Congress from Utah?
Objection vague.
Mr. Tran is not required to write anything to the Congress because it is based on the voluntary foundation of the Congress tenet. If Mr. Tran decides to write to the Congress, he will write to the Congress. He's not required to write to the Congress.
Do you know if Mr. Von Tran ever signed any letters to the Congress, your agent in Utah, or your legal representative in Utah?
Objection to the extent it calls for a legal conclusion and misstates prior testimony.
I am not sure where you get the idea that there is a legal representative of the Congress in Utah, because I never said as such.
I understand that you may not believe that, but do you know if Mr. Von Tran believes that?
I cannot speak for his belief.
Okay, you read his testimony, did you not?
I beg your pardon?
You read his deposition testimony, did you not?
I don't understand that.
Did you read Mr. Von Tran's deposition?
I read Mr. Tran's deposition.
Do you have any memory if in that deposition Mr. Tran made any comments about him being the legal representative for the Congress in the state of Utah?
Yes, he made statement in regard to that matter. He never stated about his belief in that regard.
So he stated, I am the representative of the Congress in the state of Utah.
Objection misstates testimony.
Is that what you believe he said? Is that what you remember him
That's
saying?
what I read, that he represents himself as being the representative of the Congress in Utah.
Okay. Do you know if at any time in writing a letter to the Congress, Mr. Tran signed a letter saying, I am the representative of the Congress in the state of Utah?
Objection. To the extent that there's a record, it would speak for itself.
I do not recollect any letter that he wrote to the Congress signing himself as the representative of the Congress in Utah.
Okay. Had he done so, would the Congress have objected?
Objection. Hypothetical.
Had he done so, I cannot speak for the mind of the Congress, but the Congress would have objected.
Okay, you can't speak for the mind, but you think they would have objected?
Legally, Mr. Tran cannot sign any, legally he can sign whichever letter he believes, because the position that he created himself has no reflection on what the Congress, because the Congress will accept anyone who signs anything. However, whether it's going to be binding on the Congress is the matter for the Congress to decide at the open forum.
So did you, in looking through the books of the Congress, did you see any discussions at any meeting, quarterly meeting, monthly meeting, open forum, where the Congress disputed or challenged Mr. Tran being the legal representative in the state of Utah?
Objection. To the extent there's a record, it would speak for itself.
The record does not reflect that issue being brought in front of the Congress for discussion.
So you've never seen, it wasn't discussed as far as you know?
As far as I know, yes.
How was Mr. Tran terminated?
By not being asked to stay on as a general counsel, by having a replacement for him.
So there's not a letter saying you're no longer general counsel, you just don't have one that says you are. Is that what you're telling me?
There is Mr. Tran would know, because a term of a general counsel only for 4 years. And if you're not being asked again, then you're no longer the general counsel.
Okay. Do you know who became the general counsel for the Congress in the year 2002?
There was several acting general counsel for the Congress.
Who would that be?
The General T.V.T was one. The Venerable Thích Đức was also being asked. And the Venerable Thích Trí Lãng was also being asked.
And so even though those men are non-lawyers, they can be the general counsel?
No, actually, it is not a general counsel position. It's only for a licensed attorney. So an acting general counsel does not have the same power. They only there for advisory.
So it's like
position.
a general counsel board, kind of? Is that what you're telling me?
I cannot tell you whether it is a board, but I'm telling you that they do not practice law when you are only acting general counsel. You are there to raise the conscience of the Congress to the legal issue, but not to advise whether a certain action are legal or illegal.
Because I think your earlier testimony was that in 2001, Mr. Tran was not renewed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So was any licensed attorney ever asked to be the general counsel for the Congress beginning in 2001?
Yes. And now he's a judge in Orange County.
Who is that?
It was right on the tip of my tongue. He's currently a judge in Orange County.
When you get a chance to review your deposition, could you fill in his name? Because maybe by then you'll remember. Would you be able to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Leave it blank. I will fill it out
Okay.
on that name of the judge.
And do you know how long that person, this judge person, was the legal counsel?
For several years.
Like 4 years?
4 years.
And then, so in 2008, who was appointed?
2008, it was T.V.T.
Okay. So non-licensed attorneys in 2008?
as acting general counsel.
Okay. And then you became, after 2 years in 2010?
Right.
Okay. So why did they break the 4-year cycle by appointing you?
The reason that they have to select a person to avoid the situation that I encountered with Mr. Tran. And it is the burden of the office that that create or that cause the people to be hesitant to assume such a critical position.
Okay. So you said it was a burden because of Mr. Tran to find someone to be a replacement? Is that what I'm getting from you?
No, what I'm getting to is that the office by itself, okay, is a difficult position.
Okay.
Right? And also because of the experience that they had with Mr. Tran, they have to be very careful in selecting a general counsel.
So what happened with Mr. Tran? I'm putting that in quotes. How would you define
what
that?
happened with Mr. Tran is that now we have a lawsuit on our hand.
Because he was legal. Do you think that arose because of his role as general legal counsel?
Because of the cause of action related to him over several years.
So I asked you earlier today when you met Tefan for the first time, you told me you had met him in the pagoda and you had gave me a list of people that were there. Have you had occasion to meet him again after that first time?
Yes,
How many times have you met with Mr. Tefan?
at least 3 times
Okay, and where were those meetings?
at the Phổ Quang Pagoda.
Okay, so the first one you told me about, when was the second one?
At the Phổ Quang Pagoda.
And who was at the second meeting?
I beg your pardon?
Who was at the second meeting?
The Venerable Thích Trí Lãng was there. The nun Kính Tâm was there. There were other lay person. I got introduced, but couldn't remember their name.
Was a roll kept at that meeting?
I beg your pardon?
Did anyone keep roll?
No,
Were minutes kept at all?
no.
Okay. What was the purpose of the meeting?
The meeting is to talk to the congregant to see how things are going with them.
So how many people were there besides Tri Lang, Kim Tam, Tefan, and yourself?
There were at least 10 or 12 people.
So 10 to 12 people. And was this held like after a ceremony, a religious ceremony or anything? Or
No, it was not. It was during a weekday.
do you know how people were notified the meeting was going to occur?
Objection assumes facts not in evidence.
How they, by word of mouth.
Okay. And so you said it was the purpose of that was to find out how the congregation was doing. So what was the time frame of this meeting?
Objection vague.
The time frame meaning that when it started and when it ends.
No, is in the date.
The date, it was in 2011 and some in 2012.
And what were you told by the congregation as to how things were going?
They say that they would like to have the lawsuit come to a conclusion, and they would like the defendant to leave them alone so that they can practice Buddhism instead of having to be concerned about their action and trying to irritate or trying to create a scene at the pagoda.
Anything else they talked about?
And they talk about how the maintenance of the building is burdensome because for a long time nothing was being done. So now they have to clean up the basement because of rodent. They have to make a roof repair, and they also have to repair to the equipment, audio, video equipment that got broken. They have the connection the line disconnected.
A line disconnected on the audiovisual equipment?
That's right. So it's not being recorded. And they're also talking about how they have to clean up after the defendant had a meeting in the kitchen. They don't clean up. They didn't clean up, and they have to take the trash out.
Okay.
And they have to wash the dishes, and they have to buy additional kitchenware because things got used and never got replaced.
Okay, anything else?
That's the majority of the meeting.
Did you offer them any resolution?
I offer them a resolution by working closely, with the local council and support local council being truthful with the discovery, so that the local council can bring the legal matter to an end.
So when you go to the pagoda and meet with these people, are you speaking on behalf of the Congress?
And I'm speaking on behalf of the Congress as far as being there as the legal counsel.
And when you go back to the Congress, do you have to give a report?
Not if they ask me to put up the issue in front of the Congress.
But if you're not asked, then you don't raise any issues.
No, we don't raise any issue because the matter has already been formulated. A solution has already. There was a resolution, and the Alice law firm has been selected, and as well as the T.V.T. Law firm. So
As well as David's.
we don't intend to meddle into the local affair unless the we're being asked for.
How about the last? You said you had 3 meetings with T.V.T. You've told me about 2. What's the last one?
The last one was early in 2012.
Okay, what was the purpose of that meeting?
The purpose of the meeting is just to meet and confer with the congregation.
And how many people were at that meeting?
There were about the same number. I think that there were more. Actually, there were more people at that meeting.
And how were the congregations notified this meeting was going to occur?
By word of mouth.
And it was held at the pagoda?
Yes, it was at the pagoda.
So, did you keep a roll at that meeting?
No.
Who was present that you can remember?
The Venerable Thích Trí Lãng, the nun, Mr. T.V.T, and various congregants.
Various congregants. Did any of those people that were there, these various congregants, did any of their names appear on the affidavits that you had referred to earlier?
I don't recollect.
Okay. Is there a resolution in the Congress to hire a law firm?
No, there is no resolution in the Congress to hire a law firm.
How was the decision to hire a law firm made?
The decision to hire a law firm was made by Đạo Tràng Pháp Hoa.
Who was that?
The plaintiff.
Oh, the plaintiff. So the plaintiff hired the law firm.
That's correct.
Okay. So it was not hired by the Vietnamese Congress then.
No, it's not.
Okay. How about exhibit that we looked at earlier? What number was it? I can't remember. 11. Exhibit number 11. We looked at it earlier. It appears that the letter is from or is about the Vietnamese Congress.
That's correct.
So, did the Vietnamese Congress ever authorize a law firm in Utah to speak on their behalf?
Actually, if you read it, the Congress appointed the Venerable Thích Trí Lãng, who is the head monk of Đạo Tràng Pháp Hoa, the plaintiff. And from that point on, Đạo Tràng Pháp Hoa is the one who hired the law firm.
So is Congress a plaintiff in this action?
No.
Is Congress making any affirmative claims in this action?
No.
So all the claims are being brought then by Đạo Tràng Pháp
Pháp Hoa.
Hoa?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
I am going to turn this over to co-counsel to ask his questions, but I will reserve the right to ask some cleanup questions if I don't. But I don't want to waste time since I want to get out of here too.
Come on. Houston is so beautiful.
I know.
We haven't shown you anything yet.
I want to get out of here too.
Come on. Bel Air. Good God. You know.
Yeah, can we take a quick break? Okay, and then we'll come back and I'll let
You're
you
off
finish.
the record at 3:08.